Hello, welcome to this webinar. We will give a few minutes for everybody to join us and we will start our presentation. Thank you. Okay. Hello, good morning, and welcome to this webinar around how to secure your SAP data on AWS. My name is Benoît Auron. I am a business developer for Linke for the France and Benelux region. Linke is a cloud integrator in the EMEA region, and we are very pleased today to welcome both SAP and AWS on this webinar. So let me introduce you to Steve and Vincent, who are joining us today.
Thank you, Benoît. So my name is Vincent Doux. I'm working at the SAP Center of Expertise for GRC and Cybersecurity topics, and I'm covering EMEA North countries.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Steve Quinn. I'm a partner solution architecture manager for SAP on AWS, and I cover the EMEA region.
All right. You can vote during all this webinar in the poll section to select for the next topic that we'll be covering in our webinar. So this is right there on your right part of the screen. And you can also ask some question in the chat area. We will cover those questions at the end of this session. So let's start. So the agenda for today is we will quickly present Linke activities. We will then present you a few results from an IDC study published end of last year. We will show you how common shared responsibility model is applying today between AWS, SAP, and some integrators. We'll provide you a quick overview of cybersecurity solutions in the AWS and SAP world and present you some 4 concrete use cases of how different solutions can work together. And then we will respond to all of your questions. So the general idea of this webinar is not to go through the detailed functionalities of one or the other of solution, but just to provide you a concrete overview of how those solutions can work together. So Linke, we have 10 years of experience helping customers migrating and operating their SAP landscape in the AWS cloud. We are a 100% cloud company. We operate from the cloud stack until the operating system layer. We usually do not deal with the functional tuning of your SAP system. And we have helped dozens of companies from all sectors to accelerate and optimize them SAP migration in the cloud. We have customers in the utility industry like Northern Gas Network in the UK, Madrilena Red de Gas in Spain, ENGIE in the energy world, or Galp in Portugal, or in the construction like Lafarge, or food distribution like Serunion. We benefit from the highest level of certification, both in the SAP world, we are an SAP Gold partner, and in the AWS world as a premier partner consulting. What makes Linke special is that all our engineers are specialized in both environments and have this double expertise. Linke is also a member of the Map for SAP program, a migration acceleration program designed by AWS to provide a three-step methodology to prepare you for the migration and successfully execute it. And Linke was awarded last year Integrator of the Year in the Iberia region, so we're very proud of this new award. We have helped about 110 customers to migrate their SAP landscape on AWS. We manage around 220 productive SAP instances on AWS. We mainly operate in the EMEA region, and our experience in that area have led us to develop 6 technology products that meet our customer needs. Our main flagship solution is called the Linker Connector. It is basically a DevOps tool made up to enrich your SAP applications with AWS services. It is an ABAP plugin that will allow you, for example, to store documents in an Amazon S3 storage at a lower cost and ease of use. The second solution is Memory Backup. It is a backend agent certified by SAP, designed to handle your backups in the cloud. What makes this solution unique is that you can backup different types of database, like Sybase, HANA, Oracle, with the same solution. And finally, the product that we're going to talk a lot today is the Linke Automation Platform. This solution has 2 benefits. The first one is to accelerate and automate operation and deployment of your SAP system in the cloud. And the second one is to control your infrastructure and ensure compliance. And this is why we want to present you this solution today. But before we start and go deep into the cybersecurity issues, I wanted to share the results of an IDC survey that was published last October. And basically, this survey is telling us that not all customers have made the journey into the cloud for their most critical application. Only 14% of SAP applications have moved in the public cloud today. So that shows, of course, a lack of maturity, and that the subject is still very sensitive, and that the platform of choice tomorrow will certainly be an hybrid landscape for most customers. What we are seeing, though, on the market is that today we are seeing an acceleration of those migration, and that a lot of projects that were postponed before the COVID are now resurfacing. One of the main reasons that can explain this reluctance to move to the cloud is security. As you can see, the main reason put forward by those customers is around security. However, I can tell you that all our customers have migrated their platform and are very happy to have done it with us, and that not a single one has gone back. So this is why we decided today to have a discussion with you around cybersecurity, because we know it is the #1 concern when talking about SAP migration in the cloud. So I will now hand you over to Vincent that will present you the model of shared responsibility when moving to the cloud.
Thank you, Benoit. So moving to cloud is a good way to improve cyber defense because cybersecurity is part of cloud provider duty, and they have dedicated teams and security measures to protect their data center. But a move to the cloud will never remove all the end customer responsibilities. Depending on the cloud model, responsibilities are split between end customer and cloud service provider. Even with a full software as a service model, responsibilities, for example, over user lifecycle and authorization management, including access and segregation of duty risk governance, will stay at customer side. Hyperscaler platform, such as the AWS one, will cover the IT infrastructure, but not support the cybersecurity aspect related to the business application layer. Another element to consider when moving to cloud is that it also introduces new problematics around data sovereignty and transparency on data transfer for compliance with national and transnational regulation, such as the GDPR. That's why SAP and AWS developed and proposed additional services and solutions to help customers secure their full landscape in an easy and efficient way. Let's take an example with the AWS shared responsibility model. Please, Steve.
Thank you, Vincent. So in AWS, we work with our customers and partners within a shared responsibility model for security. This ensures that our customers and partners have a clear understanding of who manages the key aspects of securing your SAP workloads. We at AWS consider security to be job zero, meaning it's more important than any other priority. It is our primary responsibility to make sure that your SAP workloads are secure in the AWS cloud, or what we term security of the cloud. We do this using our well-architected principles. One of the 5 pillars of well-architected is security. This means building in security from the very start of your cloud journey using the key security building blocks of our VPCs. These are, for example, security groups, network access control lists, network firewalls, and application firewalls. These are key design principles of security of the cloud on AWS. But as we'll see in the next slides, and as Benoit will present later, we're constantly co-innovating with our partners to make sure that your SAP data is also kept secure by offering the broadest range of complementary and leading edge security services for SAP on the cloud. And as I say, working with our partners, SAP and Linke, to provide services that supplement the already stringent AWS security features. So, in terms of our coverage, we offer secure cloud services across the region with availability zones in Frankfurt, Stockholm, Cape Town, Bahrain, Dublin, Milan, and with new AZs always planned, for example, in Switzerland in 2022. Our customers have flexibility in the way they design their SAP landing zones on the AWS cloud, but we always work towards ensuring our customers adopt the well-architected framework and in securing their SAP data. For example, having a second availability zone for HA and using the AWS recovery tools and services in the unlikely event of a backup and restore being required. Equally, when it comes to securing SAP data on the cloud, we offer a range of fully managed services to both secure your workloads in the cloud and on the cloud. In terms of AWS global security and compliance, AWS has invested really heavily in the broadest range of global security and compliance accreditations. These include ISO, the EU-based rules, but also business-aligned frameworks like GXP for pharma. We have worked with a number of major global pharma customers to create a fully GXP compliant SAP landing zone. And in addition, obviously, as you can see, they're too numerous to count, but we support many of the world's largest SAP workloads, where these have to be secured in a regulatory setting, for example, utilities, security and defense, government, and as I mentioned earlier, also global pharma companies. So for monitoring and security on AWS, we provide a range of services to enable rapid provisioning of compliant SAP landscapes. And I mentioned GXP previously as an example. Using services like CloudFormation templates and SAP Launch Wizard, our customers can launch new instances which are fully compliant based on previously built and tested templates, especially when testing new code or business configuration changes in a regulatory or validated business setting. This saves huge time and effort compared to a traditional hosting setting and removes a lot of the human error prone to rebuilding multiple instances, often on mixed landscapes and platforms. I mentioned earlier that we at AWS, we develop a range of complementary security services to ensure that your data and your workloads remain secure, both in the cloud and on the cloud. Here you'll see a snapshot of those tools and how data is kept secure on the AWS cloud. We orchestrate these services across the main security domains, as you can see there, of identify threats, protect against threats, detect, automate, investigate, and recover against threats. And we're also constantly developing and releasing new services like Amazon Macy, which we will see later, for sensitive data identification and protection. And also with AWS Audit Manager that supports regular compliance reporting cycles and is a complementary service to SAP's Data Custodian and SAP's GRC audit tools and services.
Thank you, Steve. Most of the critical business processes and sensitive data of any organization are managed at the business application level. And we observe that hackers and insiders are targeting more and more this application layer. For example, using identity theft involving social intelligence to hijack the business processes of the organization. The SAP Cybersecurity positioning is to complete what our partner like AWS and other specialized CM provider can propose around the securization of the IT infrastructure with dedicated solution to focus on the business application level. And so create additional synergies to provide end-to-end monitoring of security aspect. As Tim McKnight, the SAP Chief Security Officer, used to say, SAP is not in the security business, but in the business of securing our customers' businesses. So you can see here an overview of the SAP security and data protection portfolio based on the well-known NIST framework. As you can see, the SAP portfolio covers all the different NIST pillars, from the identification and monitoring of vulnerabilities in the SAP system, but also in the custom code to identify any gaps and ease maintenance and security audit. Also to secure and automate the full user lifecycle management, which is critical to secure the remote working we are all doing now in the new normal situation, but also to support our customer to manage compliance with privacy-related regulations such as the GDPR, to reinforce the data protection with additional data loss prevention measure, and finally, to integrate all these cybersecurity and data protection measures with the SAP GRC 3-line model platform to provide central risk monitoring capacities and allow all the different stakeholders to monitor their pertinent key risk indicator, and also providing the capacity to compare different typology of risk, and so allow the manager and the board to take the right decision in regard of their strategic objective. Today, we'll focus on some use cases based on the highlighted SAP solution on this slide. Benoit?
Yeah. Thank you, Vincent. So let's deep into the subject now. So our proposal to you is to present 4 use cases that we think are very common when migrating SAP workloads in the cloud. The first one is around infrastructure compliance, is how we can enforce your SAP infrastructure compliance using both the Linke automation platform and the SAP Focus Run solution.
So, thank you, Benoit. So first, what is SAP Focus Run? So it's a solution that has been developed by SAP first as an internal tool to administrate and maintain thousands of SAP systems deployed in the SAP data center. It is also proposed to the SAP customer to simplify and optimize the SAP system operation. It includes powerful capacities to monitor security vulnerabilities in your SAP landscape. It allows you to design your security policy for all security-related configuration parameters and scan all your productive and non-productive SAP instances. Any gaps are automatically identified, security risk is evaluated, and corrective measures are triggered to go back to the security policy standard. These central and automated monitoring capacities optimize and simplify security maintenance and reduce the cost and time for security audit. SAP Focus Run comes with a rich predefined content based on the SAP best practices.
An SAP Focus Run will complement the Linke automation platform. The Linke automation platform is a DevSecOps tools designed to automate operation and ensure compliance. So if we focus on the compliance part, we will mainly act at the infrastructure level. The Linke automation platform will supervise and control in real time that your infrastructure is fully compliant with SAP and AWS best practice, like the AWS well-architected framework, for example. So we are acting at the operating system or network level if necessary. So, for example, if AWS best practice is requiring the use of encrypted disk, our compliance engine will detect this and send an alert and launch the necessary remediation. Or if the SAP StarSys user is not active, it will detect it as well and apply the right system settings in the system. So the main benefit is, of course, to reduce heavily time of deployment if necessary, but in our case, to ensure a full compliance at the infrastructure level according to SAP and AWS requirements. The second use case we want to present you is around cyber attack. Is again a combination of a Linke product, the Linke connector, associated with SAP Enterprise Threat Detection, Amazon Guard Duty, and Amazon Detective.
Thank you, Benoit. Protective measures such as vulnerability management, access risk governance, or data loss prevention are critical but not sufficient to efficiently guarantee your information system security. History and the current context is showing us that no protection will ensure a 100% safety against attack. Studies like the one from the Ponemon Institute explain that it takes an average of more than 200 days to identify an intrusion and more than 70 days to take efficient response to this intrusion. During this time, intruder will have plenty of time to analyze your information system and your organization to identify the most sensitive data and trigger the most impactful attack. This period also allows them to ensure their persistence in all the security backup you can generate. So the question is how to be able to identify intrusion and unusual user behavior in your business application to react quickly and potentially automatically in order to trigger the right response to neutralize the threat before the impact of the attack happens. So the solution exists. It's SAP Enterprise Threat Detection. Again, this solution has been developed by SAP first as an internal tool to secure the SAP data center because no solution on the market could answer the SAP security requirement. It will allow you to analyze in real time all the technical events that happen at the SAP application layer, secure all the SAP log, and detect any unusual behavior thanks to pre-configured threat detection patterns. Steve, can you help us to understand how it can complement the Amazon security services?
Thank you, Vincent. So, yeah, Amazon Guard Duty is Amazon's intelligent threat detection service, and it continuously monitors for malicious activity across your stored data is in Amazon S3, essentially your storage layer. Amazon Guard Duty provides an automated and cost-effective means of achieving continuous threat detection against a lot of the threats that Vincent has just called out. Amazon Guard Duty does this by analyzing literally billions of events across multiple AWS sources, such as CloudTrail, event logs, DNS logs, etc. This is particularly important for customers like online retailers, where their exposure to threat is perhaps greater than other industries. And we work with a large customer in the region who have fully integrated Guard Duty to their SAP threat detection service. Guard Duty is easy to deploy. So like a lot of the AWS services, there is no software to deploy or download. It's available as a fully managed service, which means there's no complex implementation or lead time. You can simply invoke the service within minutes. Over to you for the next one. I think that's on. No, this one's me. Apologies. Okay, so Amazon Guard Duty organizes its findings across approximately 50 different types and groups. So when Amazon Guard Duty generates a finding, whenever it detects unexpected or potentially malicious activity in your AWS SAP environments, it's also possible to filter on Guard Duty findings, as you can see above. The examples of finding types, which number, as I say, over 50 different types of security findings that could impact your organization. And also by adding filter criteria through the Guard Duty console, you can also filter specific attributes like account, region, instance ID, public DNS name, and so on, which means you can tailor and focus your own security findings using Amazon Guard Duty.
Thank you, Steve. So to complement what the AWS Guard Duty Service can provide on the infrastructure layer, ETD will focus on the application layer. It supports all the different SAP system logs type and all the different technical events generated by SAP application, and provide in standard the full semantic and correlation layer to translate all this information into human language. The SAP native cloud solution logs integration is planned for this year. So you can see Ariba, Concur, SuccessFactors, and so on. SAP ETD also supports non-SAP logs and provide machine learning based feature to automate the creation of the semantic layer for non-SAP technical event. In addition to this standard content, the SAP Cybersecurity expert provide additional pre-configured threat detection pattern to enhance the monitoring capacity and speed up the implementation. So you have a link, you will have this link in the webinar material. You will be able to see that we have already more than 300 threat detection patterns pre-configured with ETD, and every 2 months, SAP delivered additional ones. So SAP ETD and the AWS services can integrate together, but you can also centralize all the relevant alerts from ETD and AWS Guard Duty, for example, into an existing CM solution to set up an end-to-end threat monitoring process from the IT infrastructure up to the application layer, covering the full landscape, on-premise, hybrid, multi-cloud environments. With this integration scenario, you'll be able to have full transparency over your information system, benefit from all the advanced machine learning based feature and pre-configured pattern from both SAP and AWS, as well as the capacity to deploy even more valuable threat detection scenario, combining elements from both the IT infrastructure and the application layers. So SAP Enterprise Threat Detection propose standard connector to most of the major CM system, as well as pushing and pulling as JSON and Leaf APIs to implement these integrated scenarios.
Thanks a lot, Vincent, for this presenting this use case. The third example we want to present you now is a very common one. Is the ability to protect your content server within a cloud environment. So basically, it's a 4-step methodology. Usually, your content server contains all the documents generated on SAP. It might be, for example, engineering plans if you're using CAD through SAP, or financial documents like invoices or archives. So the first step is to move this content to the S3 storage area in AWS. The second and third step would be to use AWS Macie, who is a machine learning solution, to detect and classify what is sensitive data for your company. And once this classification has been done, send this sensitive data to an SAP protection tool like UI masking or data protection solution, for example. So to do that, we will use the Linke connector, who is basically the ABAP plugin installed on your SAP instance and designed to take advantage of all AWS services, like Amazon S3 for the storage part, DynamoDB, or Athena, for example. This solution is eligible for AWS credits and is certified by SAP. So there are lots of advantages to move your content server to an S3 bucket. The first one is the reduction of cost operation. By using an S3 storage rather than an EBS volume, you will be able to divide your operating costs by 5. The second main advantage is around the shared responsibility model. Today, if you're handling your content server on an instance like EC2, you might as well include it in your network and therefore be responsible for its security and network in AWS world. So you're basically shifting this responsibility to the cloud provider. So to classify and detect this sensitive data, you will mainly use Macy, and I will let Steve present you more in detail what Macy can do.
Yeah. Hi, thanks, Benoit. Yeah, so as Benoit has indicated, I guess the key next question is, having moved your data to the S3 bucket on AWS, how do you make sure that sensitive data is, first of all, identified and managed and secured? So Amazon Macy is the way to do that. It is a fully managed service that enables you to discover and protect sensitive data in your Amazon S3 buckets. It's data specific and not workload specific, so it works across a range of applications, including SAP data. And how does it do this? Amazon Macy uses machine learning to automatically spot and classify sensitive data for you. Again, similar to Guard Duty, it's available as a fully managed service, and you pay based on the number of Amazon simple storage buckets that are evaluated, and also the amount of data processed for sensitive data recovery jobs. The service now includes recently updated PII detections for sensitive customer data, and also enables you to further identify other customer data of a sensitive nature. The service is now tightly coupled with the S3 backend, including continual evaluation of all buckets. And most importantly, this includes unencrypted buckets as well as your encrypted data buckets. Thank you, Benoit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as you just said, Steve, Macy will be able to work on some pre-configured finding types. So, for example, detect certain patterns or insufficient encryption. It will handle the sharing of sensitive documentation, but it can also detect some type of documents or file based on what is sensitive for you, like personal data, financial data, or credential data. Then the last step of this methodology would be once you have identified what is critical and sensitive for your company, is to send those data into an SAP data protection tool, for example. And on this example, we are using the UI masking. You can see in yellow some areas are blurred. Those fields don't want to be public. The final and fourth use case we want to present you today is around data sovereignty, which is one of the hottest topic at the moment. And we wanted to share with you a new and very innovative solution provided by SAP in this domain. So on to you, Vincent.
Thank you, Benoit. Yes, so The challenges in the multi-cloud era. As we explained since the beginning, the new situation create new challenges. Why? Because what we see now is that data is everywhere because of the new hybrid landscape combining private, public cloud, and on-premise systems. There is also a new governance standard, additional regulation like the GDPR in the European Union, with new requirements around data transfer monitoring, for example. These two elements create new demands because of complex landscape and additional regulatory requirement. Sovereignty over data is a key aspect of the digital world. So how can company take advantage of the benefit from the cloud and still retain control of their business data? So in order to support our customers on these complex topics, SAP developed a new cloud solution called Sap Data Custodian in partnership with the hyperscaler and AWS to help our customer to handle these challenges. SAP Data Custodian ensures transparency and control over data in public cloud, on-premise, hybrid, and multi-cloud environment. It provides, for example, powerful capacities, including predefined machine learning feature to monitor your SAP data in complex hybrid landscape, deploy additional access control policies based on real-time geolocation control to facilitate compliance with regulation such as the GDPR. The solution also proposes an independent and secured key management and cryptography service to ensure that only customer will be able to access the data stored on hyperscaler platform. Let's have a quick focus on this service. The SAP Data Custodian Key Management Service combines the powerful capacities of an on-premise HSM infrastructure to generate and store securely the encryption keys and the ease of use of a cloud service. It allows you to implement segregation of duties concept to ensure that the hyperscaler or the cloud service provider will not at the same time store the data and access the encryption keys. Only the end customer can approve the access to the encryption keys, and this prevents any unauthorized third-party disclosure of information, could be by the hyperscaler or by any state actor too. So you will keep the control of your data. You will keep the sovereignty over your data, whatever is your hybrid landscape, combining any kind of possible cloud model, SaaS, private cloud, hyperscaler platform.
Thanks a lot, Vincent, for sharing those details around data custodian. And as this is an issue for most European companies today, I think it was interesting today to present you this new product. So, as key takeaways, we wanted to give you a whole overview of what is available on the market. We don't have the time today to cover each product and each solution in detail because security is a huge topic. The message we want to give you is that when you're relying on a specialist with some experience, you can face the challenges of this type of critical migrations. You can also benefit from some AWS funded and credits to help you reduce the cost of those technical migration. And what we want to propose you is to continue the discussion in the next webinar around one or the other of the topic we covered today. So I'm just checking now. Yes, lots of people have responded to the poll. So we will probably have a focus on the next webinar around the optimization of SAP workloads over AWS platform. So what we will do with Steve and Vincent is send to all of you the recordings and content of this presentation via mail and also via the LinkedIn platform. And we will now open to questions if there are any questions. So I see one question: how can security tools running inside an SAP system interface with the AWS reporting? This is exactly what the Linke connector is doing, is basically running AWS services inside an SAP system.
And to complement, Benoit, yes, it's exactly what the Linke connector is doing, creating a connection channel between the AWS and the SAP world. In addition, regarding the threat monitoring use case we talk about during the webinar, the SAP Enterprise Threat Detection solution provide also standard connector to most of the CM system on the market, such as QRadar, ArcSight, Splunk. So we provide standard connector, and we also provide APIs based on JSON and the Leaf API to create additional interface with other CM system.
Yeah, and just to build on that, obviously all of the AWS services are API based, which means you can call and access pretty much all of the services we've discussed today, the AWS services, for example, via an API link. And of course, obviously, as Benoit said, using the Linke connector, which is a fully certified link between AWS and SAP workloads.
Thank you for those precisions. How can I receive the presentation and recording of the webinar? So as I just said, we will send you by mail for all the persons that were on the BrightTalk platform today, the content and recording of this presentation. If some people want to leave us their mails to the chat, we'd be happy to go back to you as soon as possible. What is the pricing model of the different solution? We will not go through this topic today, but most of the solutions are based on subscription model. So again, we'd be happy to provide you more details around this area if you want to. Do customers need to be on S/4HANA to use all those solutions? No, this is not a necessary requirement. Maybe Vincent, you can give us some more details.
No, you're
in
completely
this area.
right, Benoit. The solution we introduced today are applicable to the different SAP application, ECC, and for sure S/4HANA also, but it's not mandatory.
Okay. How do you monitor the incidents? Well, this is a bit difficult to answer depending on what type of solutions we are talking about.
Benoit, shall I come in on that one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so in terms of monitoring, really there are, I guess, two types of monitoring, certainly when it comes to the AWS platform. And that's really areas like, what's happening with the application firewalls, what's happening with the network firewalls, what's happening with the security groups and the IAM. The other side, of course, is what we've mentioned here, the access to data, so guard duty, Amazon Macy, all of these services which cover security, both of the cloud and data in the cloud, can be brought together under what we call one umbrella service called the Security Hub. So that is one single dashboard for monitoring, let's call it your physical security. So those boundaries that are created by security groups, application firewalls and network firewalls, but also the alerting of some of the data and application related services we've talked about today, Guard Duty and Amazon Macy.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I see some other questions, but I think we would get back to you on a case-by-case basis. We want to thank you all for being here today. We see that there are people coming from all the world, so we are very happy that this topic is of interest for you and your companies. We will as well get back to you very soon regarding the next webinar we want to organize jointly. So we will provide you with some dates and content on this webinar. A big thank you to all of you, Steve, Vincent, and Laia, that helped us on this webinar today. And we hope to talk with each of you very, very soon.
Thank you very much, Benoit. And don't hesitate to contact us by email. You have our email coordinates on the screen, and you will receive also the information in the webinar material very soon. So if you have any question on how to handle the security topic for your SAP migration, if you have a specific subtopic to address, today we provide just an overview about the different solution and service available. But be aware that we can go at a more granular level. We have additional solutions from AWS, from SAP to handle lots of different use cases regarding both security and compliance aspect of the cloud world. So don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.